Right now.
Right now.
Right now.
Right now.
Right now.
Right now.
Because it's time to write now. Welcome, my friends, to the WriteNow Writers Group, meeting number 30. Wow. 29 sessions under our belt and many more to come. Welcome to the community. Today, we're going to be diving into some writers' conversations and writing sprints. Our writers group is a weekly live session where writers from the community will join us on stream as we emulate a real writers group. I've been involved in over 10 writing groups in both as a member and putting them together. And the things that I've learned from putting them together is that you want to be able to create a space where writers can just come and chat and then also get work done and then sometimes be able to share their work. I wanted to bring a writers group to a virtual format. And so far, our writers group has been awesome. So if you want to hop on stream with us in future meetings, let us know and you'll be included in the invite link so you can come be involved in the discussion and get some writing done with us. But if you're just joining us in the chat, no worries, because I would like you to speak up. We love hearing you and I love throwing your comments on the screen. So welcome. I'm Kaufman and I'm on a mission to help the writers of the world with the process, lifestyle, and mindset that it takes to be an author. And that is me. 300 something streams. I'm like, I don't know, 300, but we'll get to 400 at some point. 400, I don't know, 300 something streams, 390. We'll get there eventually. And that is me. Welcome. And I'd love to let everyone else introduce themselves. I'm playing around with this new box format today, so I think it's awesome. All right, so I'll kick it off to you.
So I'm Chat Soul, and this is Crow, and he's joining as usual. Lately, I kind of stepped away from my fan fictions to work on Shifting Flame and To Haven's Edge, and I'm working on another project kind of on the side that not entirely sure where it's going to go just yet. So I still have my mythology series thing I'm doing, but it's not much I can do with that one until I learn more about kids' books. So,
man, and your mythology, your wolf story was actually incredible. Anybody who missed the last critique show, which was 2 weekends ago, it was a really good read, really good read. So highly recommend. Chat Soul, you also get our you get like the 30 gold stars for making all 30 meetings so far. So I just had to put that out there.
My meetings went to spam, so I'm sorry about that.
Like, I would have gotten more. It's all the email's fault.
If it weren't for your meddling emails.
Don't forget the Nigerian prince.
We got a Nigerian. Oh wow, yep. So it's all due to the Nigerian prince and email spam marketing. All right, I'm glad we know who to blame this week.
Got it.
All right, crazy.
My name is root beer, and this is a skull. I know you can't tell, but it is a skull. That's my dude for my stuff. So far, I have been doing a little bit of writing on a new book, obviously, but also kind of fixing my book cover arts because most of them I just don't like the way they turned out. So I'm kind of redoing them a little bit, giving them extra touches here and there. Also, I'm also currently making a Discord. Has nothing like Kaufman's, but I'm making my own. It's basically just where you could just read my books, tell me how you think, what you think about them and all that. There's also places for you don't have to talk about books at all. You just have fun and whatnot. And so still a work in progress, but 2 of our members are on there, Soul and Penelope. Hi, Soul. And so it's still a work in progress, but I'm sure we'll get there.
Sweet. I absolutely love it. I always highly recommend Discord now after a lifetime of never using it before right now. Such a great community tool, especially for all of our authors out here who, if you're trying to build a readership, it's a great way for readers to be able to connect over your books. So I think absolutely agreed. Crazy. Thanks so much for sharing that. And I'll pass it over to Calvin.
Hey guys, by the way, root beer, love the crystal skull.
You're welcome.
My name is Calvin. I've been writing more seriously for the last few years, thanks to help from Kaufman, Chat Soul every now and then, and from a few other people. I mostly strut the line between science fiction and fantasy, but I have finished a military science fiction book that is going through, I think, the third round of revisions.
Mm-hmm.
Kaufman knows it. He reads it. He actually liked it. Shocking, but
It's
okay.
a real good book. It's a really good book. It's right up my style too. It's like anybody who likes Star Trek. It's like I would say it's like a cross between like a Star Trek type vibe and like one of those like world like futuristic World War planetary war type vibe. I'm trying to think of what that genre is, but it's definitely really fun.
I appreciate it. But anyhow, that's all there is to me. I do not have a Discord, mostly because I do not have time. If anyone heard what sounded like a Charlie Brown voice, that would be the loudspeaker above my head. So I apologize again for anyone that sounds like Charlie Brown, or at least sounds like the adults from Charlie Brown, because there are no adults around here.
Wah, 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 wah.
Exactly.
Awesome. All right. Thank you so much, Calvin. And Chris, I'll pass it over to you.
Hello, I am Chris. I am a tarot reader for writers. I'm also a writer myself. I released a short story called Duncan, a Gay Teenage Witch on Amazon last December. Episode 2 is done.
Yes.
Episode 3 will be written during all of our sprints today. Not like finished, but it will at least get closer.
It's going to be finished. You're going to go through the rough draft, the second draft, final draft, and 3 sprints.
That's how this works, obviously. But yeah, I also do not have a Discord. I do have my own website where I actually am going to be starting to do some tarot study group stuff. If anyone wants to join learn some tarot stuff, it's on Saturday mornings at 10. Go to my website, chrislily.tv, and you can find out all about that.
Sweet. Chris, thank you so much for sharing that, my friend. And I'll make sure by the end of the stream, we'll link everybody's stuff and we'll throw it all in the chat so people can go check out each of your stuff. I just want to hop into the chat and welcome everyone. Megan, I saw you hop into the stream. Welcome. Courtney, of course, glad to see you, my friend. ML, hope everything's going good for you. I've been seeing some of your updates lately. Sending you the best of luck and hoping you're still able to get some writing in between. Definitely. Bethany, welcome back to the stream, my friend. Really glad to have you in here. One of my other fellow fantasy readers and writers. Absolutely love it. Courtney, you're like, Dave wasn't bad. Finally figured out how to move the description. So excited to work on that tonight for this stream. We're definitely going to be getting a lot of writing in tonight, my friend. So let me tell you, I'm promising writing. Kaufman has to get much farther in Scarecrow this month than he's done for the past 3 months. So that promises for sure. Nil, welcome, my friend. And Patrick, good to see you in here. Welcome back. Good to see you, Patrick and Susan. Love everybody. I finished my rough draft today. So excited. It sounds like we have some good writing vibes here. Tiara, what's up? I just started reading Fourth Wing 2. I know the third book, I think it's the third book, right? Onyx Storm just came out, I think, within the past couple days. I'm still about halfway through Fourth Wing, but I mean, I enjoyed it for what it was. I mean, it's totally a romantasy genre. I need to get back into reading it, and I think that is everyone. Okay, so with that being said, as I've been thinking about what's on our mind and kind of with what you guys were sharing, something that totally came up to me was when we are building our readership and we're telling people about our books, maybe we publish something, maybe we haven't yet. Where do you guys send people when they learn about you? So obviously maybe they bought your book, maybe they haven't. Besides the go buy the book page, where do you send them to build your readership? Do you guys think it should be a website? Do you guys think it should be a Discord? Do you think it should be your social media profile? I'd love for you guys to weigh in. I'm really curious.
I say all of the above, really, if you have all three.
But let's say like for those of us or those out there who might have more limited time, where do you focus on first? What would you guys say should be like the first focus in your experience?
I have a QR code and it goes to my
Yes.
link tree.
Really
And
good job, by the way. QR codes have been around for a while, but they've been becoming more and more mainstream the past couple years.
it goes to my link tree, which is attached to my website, which actually has a button for everything they could go to, all the classes I offer, all the services I offer, the books that I offer, the website, the blog, all of it. So it just kind of like just lists it all, and they can just read it all. I always get a little scared about it in general, just because I've heard that people get, decision paralysis kind of a thing, just with all the different choices. But I'm like, it's the best I can do. Like, I can't just be like, here, blog, done. Like, that's not what I do. But I just have all the different things laid out for everyone with the QR code, and that's where I send them to. So,
yeah, I forgot who I was chatting with. I know I was talking through getting some type of a business card, or getting cards for whenever I start going to the conventions. And what I've been told and researched so far is that you should have like the brand or something easy on one side, and then doing the QR code on the other side. Because people really like, I mean, I like using the QR code. It's easy.
I'm all digital. I don't have money to print stuff off right now. I'm all digital.
I actually have my own business card.
There we go. I love it. So, okay. So on one side you have your
on the first side is the actual series. I know my light's not on. There we go. So on one side I have my series. I have all 4 of the books that are in it, the trilogy, and then the novella. And I actually tried to design it so that it shows like the main series like here, but then the novella, which is supposed to be between these 2 books, kind of below both of them. And then on the back side is written by Hollow, and then the actual website. Do not go to the website right now. It is down. I need to. I actually recently migrated my website off of Wix because I can't afford $25 a month on top of everything else I'm doing. So I'm switching over to something else, and the website's nearly done, but it's probably going to be another couple weeks at least, if not longer. Since I also need to finish the second book, hopefully before the end of February.
What were you charged $25 a month for that?
Literally just to use Wix, and that's not on top of the yearly. I mean, granted, the yearly.
Yeah, but you have to pay 2, right? Because you have to pay the for the server. I'm trying to remember the right wording. So you have to pay for the server for where the website is the source of the website, and then you have to pay for the
Wix.
hosting,
You
right?
pay
Server
for
and
Wix,
hosting.
host it there. But I found that Google Worksites does not make you pay anything per month to host it through them. You just need to have your own domain name. So I'm switching my domain, which went through Wix, to GoDaddy. I think it's GoDaddy.com, and it's going to be hosted through them. So all I have to do is pay yearly for the actual domain, which
because that's
$20.
And that's why I'm wondering, because I just pay for my domain. I don't pay for Wix. And then as I get stuff.
Where'd you build your website?
I mean, I had it first on Weebly, and then I moved it over to Wix.
Probably. Okay, well, if you moved it to Wix, I don't know why they didn't make you pay, and I'm jealous of that. Because I preferred my Wix site.
I use a Squarespace. So like where I have my the writing service website, the Creative Ghost, I know that I had to buy the domain for it first, and then I built the Squarespace once I had the URL. And then I think Squarespace charges me 2 things. So Squarespace charges me the yearly to hold the URL essentially, and then it charges the monthly to host the website.
Because mine's not charged. I don't know. Mine website, but also every time that I get like something taken out, like I have a certain amount. Like there is a lie. I guess I do pay a yearly fee to be able to have like a store on my thing, and then they take out money every time a transaction happens, but I don't pay a monthly fee. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean usually stores charge extra. I mean that's interesting though. I mean maybe it's you're getting it cheaper, or maybe you paid like a one-time fee.
How long have you had the site?
2 years, longer than that, 3 years.
What's it called, Weebly?
Never mind that thought.
No, I was on Wix. It was on Weebly before, but no, I think I pay like a yearly subscription for like for something, and then it just
Mm,
moves it up. I have a specific amount of whatever I can use for the year. Sorry, I don't mean to like.
It does market it as a free website builder, so it looks like that's its thing.
I
Curious-
don't know.
Yeah,
was
well,
just like
Wix.
curious.
So I don't know. Just I tried going through with just a domain, and it was like, no, if you want to use a domain, you're going to pay the yearly thing, which it was fine, but then you're going to pay for.
Yeah, I was curious. I was just pulling up Weebly here. So it looks like they market themselves as building a free website. So I mean, this could be great for the community, for anybody who's maybe just starting out and might not have the time or the resources to invest in a monthly service, because it looks like you can build the base version for free. And then it looks like the paid versions probably connect to a custom domain, connect your domain. Looks like you get different things based on it. But you still get the free website. And I don't know if Squarespace or Wix has a free website option. I'm pretty sure their minimum is you have to pay.
Yeah.
Wix, they do have a free option, but it's like I think my websites are like solarworks.wix/Sol McNamara or something, or whatever my website name was for my school portfolio.
Okay.
So it was like a .wix/ whatever my website name was, but since I wanted piratestheseries.com, it's like, no, you're going to pay the domain yearly, and then you're going to pay this every month. It did give me the option to pay once a year, but at least at the time, do I look like I can drop $300? No, I cannot. That was like the minimum one.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember what I'm on, but I just know that I have to up it if I want to get more emails to be sent out. Whatever.
That totally makes sense. So I was kind of curious because I dropped a poll in the chat, and I was just curious what the readers in our community thought. So I know we were talking about like, where do we prefer to host, or where do we prefer our readers to go? If we start on one thing, whether it's like Discord, a live stream, a website, or whatnot, as readers, and I'm going to assume we're all readers here. I'm just going to assume as writers, we're probably all readers. If you could go connect with your favorite author, what avenue would you guys prefer to connect with them through? I listed a couple of different options. I listed social media, just social media, Discord, live stream, in-person event. Do you have a preference?
Probably in person.
You think like an in-person, like go meet with them at a conference or a convention?
Yeah, just face to face. I was following you. This is my screen name. Like, give a face to the conversation or the relationship, I guess.
That makes sense.
That's what I would do. But I'm also
for me, it would depend on where can I get the most time with them. If I could go meet them in person, but only get 5 minutes, but if I could talk to them on Discord in something like this, a StreamYard or a Discord, and get maybe a half hour with them, I would probably go the half-hour route. But no, I'm with Chris. I would love to just go meet the people, but I would like to also be able to have a time, like not just like a handshake. Hi, I'm a big fan of yours. I'd like to be like, hi, handshake, big fan of yours. Can I pick your brain for 10 minutes?
See, at conventions, you just follow them around and you become a stalker. And then you find out where they're having breakfast at, and then you ask all those questions. Or where they're having a drink at night at the hotel that they're staying at. And then you can have all those conversations.
Then it can be misery.
You know, Chris, I wish that was a joke, but there's so many people out there who do that in this day and age.
Yeah.
I am not good at that.
So crazy.
For the record, I am not good at that. I am not. So just for the record, but
just make sure to make it all look like a coincidence. The more of a coincidence it looks like, the less the cops will have to get involved.
But I think that's interesting though, because a lot of times if we want to go connect with our favorite author at a conference, realistically, I mean, depending on how big their following is, it might be more limited time if there's a higher if there's a higher demand, right? But they also might have like, okay, go on their Discord, you might have more one-on-one time potentially. So that's actually really interesting.
I really personally prefer the social media Discord route. For one, my social anxiety prevents me from going to a lot of conventions. my anxiety just gets way too high even at Walmart, so there's no way I could handle a convention. But yeah, like Calvin said, just where's the most time going to be at? And even without my anxiety, well, if I'm at a convention, I'm not just going to be there for one person. I'm going to be there for whatever else is going on, and just seeing them is going to be like a big bonus. But I would much rather reach out to them and be like, hey, I'm a huge fan of yours. Do you think we could connect on Discord or through Facebook or something sometime and talk with them that way? Because that's a lot more feasible. And I think that's not just me. I think that's just people in general anymore.
I think that I could see that. I could see that as being a little bit more common for a lot of people who might deal with like anxieties over in-person stuff. I could totally see that. And I think that is probably more common than we anticipate. For someone like myself, like I want to be in the spotlight with people as much as possible. But that's just me. And I recognize, right, everyone's different. I don't know what my preference would be to connect with people.
What if we flipped it? When you become the idol, how would you like to meet your constituents?
Ooh, that's actually a good question.
Very nice.
Flip it.
Actually, Chris, I guess for me, I should say, for me, not an if, a when. When I get to that place.
I should have phrased it that way.
In that case, does that make us all stalkers because we're kind of stalking Kaufman?
He's got a point.
Yes.
Oh man, is it still considered stalking if I approve of it?
Only after a certain point, because I'm sure we'll hit a certain point where you will not approve.
Also, you invite us to these things. So
that is true, and I
You're
work
putting
with
that
them.
on yourself.
Yeah.
But like think about that. Would people like that in the community? Like I know with my long-term goals, I do plan to get into conventions, conferences, writing, anything, and it is my goal to do the speaking route because I do really want to do what I do on the videos, but then do them at conferences and conventions.
That's what
if I went to some of the bigger ones, would people in the community like that? If I was like, we'll do a meetup if anybody else wants to go to this conference.
I would actually go as long as I had enough time to arrange a hotel room or just find someone to kind of crash with, whether they want me to crash with them or not.
Yeah, I've totally seen that with like other communities before, where they will do like a meetup type deal. And then it also makes it easier. I mean, if you go to a conference or a convention by yourself, it's great. It is a lot of fun. But when you go with or meet with people who you have some type of familiarity with, it makes it a little easier. It really does.
To answer Chris's question, though, for me personally, if I actually ever did somehow become that famous, and not because I shot someone,
that's not why you became famous. Like, fingers crossed.
I would probably actually prefer more to do like this because I tend to be more open when I'm not like face to face with people, because I feel like when you're face to face with people, they have their preconceptions, and then it's like you don't live up to my preconceptions, so now we're gonna judge. Now we're gonna spend the entire time judging you. Where it's like, I guess on this I can be a little more funner.
Funner is not a real word.
You know, as writers, we make it words. We write good.
This is true.
If we were truly limited to the dictionary, we'd all be screwed by now.
Also true.
Ain't that the truth?
And to answer both Kaufman and Chris's, yes, I'm just doing a double here. If it was, if I wanted to talk to an author or fans wanted to talk to me, I would think that for both of them, I would want to go with the whole social media thing, because to meet up with an author, it would be not, I don't have that much anxiety. It's just that there's no ride I have anyway. So it's kind of hard to get to places. And the same with if I were the author and fans wanted to meet me, it's the same thing where it would kind of be hard to get to wherever I needed to be, unless there's someone that could give me a ride to the place. By all means, I'll go. But if there's no ride, I can't go. And so I'll just go with the social media.
Right.
Start
And I think that what were you gonna say, Calvin?
I'm just gonna say, start a GoFund. When you get that famous, start a GoFundMe for Uber.
Yes.
That's true.
Well,
Fair.
actually, considering where Crazy lives, Uber may not really exist. The
True.
town where I live, just north of him, is barely bigger, and Uber does not exist here.
True.
Yay,
Is,
small towns.
Mhm.
I think, yeah, I'm trying to think about what I would do. I mean, I think my goals are a little unique in that once the revenue is at a place where it can be a little bit more sustainable, and then once I figured out the transportation side of it, I will start traveling more. So I mean, from like the live streams, you guys will see me working in more random coffee shops, right? That is my goal. Probably like more either later this year or more 2026 goal. But I know it's a little different for everyone. I know Courtney mentioned I want to connect with my readers online because in person, I'm going to be so nervous. I'm going to be quiet, right? And I think this is actually a little common, right? Especially for authors or writers who just might get more like anxieties or dealing with like social anxieties. Could totally see that. Courtney and I, Kaufman, if you want to come to the Washington Renaissance Fair, I would brave that crowd for you. Aw, so sweet. I have friends. I have both friends and family in California, Oregon, and Washington. So all three of those, all the coastal states are much higher initial contenders for me for sure.
I'll say, Chris, to answer yours. I honestly do kind of. I mean, I'm not saying this like in a "oh my god, I know I'm this good" kind of way, but I know for either my game company or my books, when I actually do get known in either one, I know I'm going to be doing some like in-person things because like, gamer conventions, like for indie gamers and whatnot. And I am planning on going to the convention in April for the Comic-Con if I can. But I'm
That was the one you did last year where people were coming to you while you were
Yep.
drawing, right?
Yep. I'm actually going to be doing that again this year. Whether Shifting Flame is done or not, I am going to be going regardless. I'm just trying to get the physical copy of Burning Ember finished. And hopefully I will have that ready maybe within 2 to 3 weeks. And I'll announce that in Discord when the physical copy is ready, because I know there's been, I think, 1 or 2 people that have been kind of wanting that. I personally want people to approach me like online, and not just because my social anxiety, but I told my family this before. I told other people this. At least when it comes to my games, I don't care if you know my face. I don't care if you even know my name. I want you to know what I did. I do not care if you know me or not. The way I put it once was, for my games at least, I would rather walk through a convention and hear people talking about Eclipse Studios and the games they make than see me walking by and be like, "Oh, hey, you're Soul. I want to talk to you." No, I'd rather them come see me at my booth or something and just ignore me when I'm out in the corral. But I'd much rather talk to people through Discord or through, pretty much Discord, because I'm kind of starting to navigate away from Facebook.
I could totally see how that would change with different people. I know Tiara was mentioning I'm very chatty. I like meeting people IRL more than I do online. So I'd like to do in-person events. I think that'd be so much fun. So I think once again, it's probably a personal preference in terms of what we would like to do. I think in the perfect world, I think if you could do a balance of both, and I think this would be my recommendation from what I've heard from speaking with other authors, is anybody who's trying to build up a readership, making an investment and doing at least 1 to 2 conventions for a year, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if it's something that's in your area, that's of course more accessible and a little bit more easier on resources. But I think trying to do at least 1 to 2 in-person events, and so just getting yourself around readers, authors. If you do deal with a lot of social anxiety, then going and then maybe just not realizing that success is just by going the first time, right? And then success the next time, trade a couple contacts. I think it's just working yourself up to it. Going with friends and family is also a huge win for having having a good support network is also a really good one.
Well, I'm heading in the same direction that you are.
Mm-hmm.
So Yes.
Nope.
I'm heading the
Illegal.
same direction that you are because I actually I think it would be kind of fun to talk about tarot and writing in a like speaker platform. So
Mhm.
I'm
All
sort
right.
of
So,
following you, following you.
hey,
Another
absolutely. So,
stalker?
so obviously, what we'll do is we'll just plan a road trip for the right now, and everyone will just be a cross country road trip. We'll go to all the conventions. We'll
Perfect.
sneak
That'd
in.
be awesome.
We'll
If
sneak
there-
into all of them, and we'll figure out how to cheat the system. There we
Yep.
go. We'll do it for cheap.
If we go to Ohio, there's supposed to be some kind of castle in Ohio we should all stay at just to meet up.
Okay.
Oh.
Meet up at a castle in Ohio.
Some kind of hotel castle in Ohio I heard about some years ago, and I've always wanted to take my wife there. I'll just be like, okay, kids, there's some battlements. Go storm them. I'm going off this way.
Castle would be really cool. I would love to check out a castle. I
I
remember
actually
when I
feel like I've
traveled
heard
to
of that.
Europe. Oh, really?
I think so. I've traveled a lot. I traveled a lot as a teenager, and we went through Ohio a couple times. I almost think I heard about something about that. That sounds super familiar.
I gotta look it up. It's been a while since I've actually looked at it. I keep putting it on my checklist to like take my wife there, and of course, though, we keep getting hit with something else every time I think about it. So it's like, frick me. Charter bus, yes, there's a good idea.
All right, my friends. So I think this is an excellent conversation, but in our goal to be able to hopefully get some more writing in, we're going to hop into our first writing sprint. So we're going to be doing 3 writing sprints. I know I need to make some progress. I know my friends here do as well. So whether you are brainstorming, writing, or editing, that's all part of the process, right? It doesn't matter if you're writing or just thinking through ideas because that's still storytelling and story development. We're going to do a 25-minute sprint. And before we do, if you're enjoying the stream, follow and subscribe. We're here every day with the Right Now community, 380 something streams and counting. We have so many cool things coming up. The podcast is coming back. This Saturday is the Story and Critique Show. We will be launching our next 2 holiday events. The book club will be in the early spring, and the fiction contest, Faded Fantasy, will be later in spring. So this is the community for daily writing motivation. Make sure to tap those buttons, and you'll be alerted when we go live. All right, so I want to get that subscribe thing in. There, let's see. I know I can do this correctly. All right, perfect. So I will throw on the music. We got 25 minutes on the clock. We'll have a brief break after to chat about our writing. And I am all ready. I hope you guys are. So at 25 minutes, it's time to write now. All right. And that is the writing sprint. I was like, let's go. Maybe it'll let me break. All right, there we go. How did that writing sprint treat the rest of you guys? Hopefully able to make some progress that time. I was like, I feel like it was pretty good for me. I was like, I feel like for myself, I think I got a good start. It's interesting because whenever I start the writing process for the day, I feel like I have to spend the first like 10 minutes kind of reviewing part of what I'd written last time, and that always gets me back into the story.
Yep, I do that too.
Mm-hmm.
The problem that I'm running in with mine is I'm writing Duncan's first kiss right now,
Mm-hmm.
and he's 13, and I have to make sure it's not spicy. So I'm trying to make it as innocent as possible, but also Duncan can't kiss a mortal for the first time, so he's actually kind of been avoiding kissing his first boyfriend. So it's like hitting some relationship stuff that's like adultish, but it's like not. It's like so I have to like I have a fine line that I'm trying to like not cross.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I'm a little that's where I'm at.
So sounds like definitely sounds a little challenging. I wish I could offer up some advice, but I don't think that's my area at all.
All good. I think I figured it out better this time, but because it was getting before, I think it was a little hotter in a previous version, but I think I've been able to dumb it down a little bit, but it's still just they're also 13. Like they're very like 13-year-olds are very smart these days, so it's like it doesn't need to be like they're 6. I don't know. So
bit by bit. How about the rest of you guys? Any luck?
Yeah, I'm actually getting to the first major confrontation into Haven's Edge. And I have been waiting to get to this point because it just goes like from this almost like domestic scene to holy crap, what is going on? It is gonna be insane. Even for stuff that I've written, it's actually supposed to be like really bad.
Well, it sounds like you're on a fun part. I mean, both of you guys sounds like you're on great parts of the story, which is a huge plus. Crazy, Calvin. Were you guys able to get anything in?
I'm doing some of the rewrites on the sneak attack at Tyrus, so
nice.
I took your advice and I took out the first part, so no one will know it's coming. No one will actually know it's coming until it's too late. And then you're stuck reading the entire chapter.
Love it. Love it.
Oh, I love that. What about you, Crazy?
Didn't really write much right now. I'm still kind of fixing some of the book covers, and so far it's being a real female dog to me right now. It's always lovely, but I'm sure I'll get there.
Always dealing with fun logistics is always exciting. It looks like here in the community, Megan got 880 words. So I don't know how many you got. Did Megan beat you?
800. But I was also disturbed by my kid, so
I did not do that at all.
Megan takes the crown for that sprint. Excellent, great work, my friend.
I'm in ML Claxton's area.
Getting like a couple hundred.
Yeah, I got like 250.
Well, that's good. That's still good being able to get a little progress. I know Susan got 280, Courtney got 281, ML 200. Let's see. So it sounds like we've gotten a couple. I realized that my average for a 25-minute sprint tends to be about 500 to 600. So if I'm dedicated the whole time, and that's generally a mix of revision and writing, 500 to 600 is like a good area for me personally. And I think everybody kind of has a different vibe. But speaking of different vibes, it looks like we got another one of our community members here. Let me welcome to the stream. Welcome, Penelope.
Hello,
Telling you, girl.
Hello.
That girl's got a different vibe.
How's the writing vibe treating you today?
7 hours of editing.
Woo!
On the Love Spell Murders, which launches this weekend, I got through. It's been spotty. Like in some places, it's just fine, and other places, it's required like paragraph rewrites. Also, my editor gave me some notes that I'm trying to integrate too. And then I still have one, yes, and some excellent notes that made the story even better. But yeah, so I have one more complete edit before the weekend, or by the end of the weekend, by Sunday night.
That's exciting. That's great that you've been able to make so much progress, and that it's almost launch date.
I know. I've got 10,000 more words to go through, and I think I can get through that by the end of tomorrow because most of it is like already been gone over pretty well, picked through, and then I can just start. And what I have Scrivener, so I just set it to play and I listen to it, and and I crochet.
What do you guys use for writing?
This is my Love Spell Murder sweater.
So you use Scrivener for all your writing?
Yeah, I do. Actually, sometimes if I like out of habit, if I have an idea, I'll hop on like Office Libra and I'll open a document for it. And I've got all of these loose like documents like fluttering around on my computer. But if it's a project like that, or I really like Scrivener because it thinks like I do, because you've got like the binder to the side and you've got all these movable elements. And so like if you break everything up into scenes and you think a scene belongs somewhere else, or if you need to go check really quickly because I do pretty intricate plots and I need to bounce between, and I do a lot of parallels, word parallels, or, you know, just foreshadowing and things like that. If I have to bounce around a lot through the story and go back really quickly and check and see if I've said this the same way in two different places, Scrivener is great for that rather than
going through endless notes.
Yeah. So I wasn't quite sure if I needed a writing specific program, but I'm really glad I ended up getting it. I know it's a little passe now. I think it was really popular a couple of years ago, but like I said, it thinks like I do. So it's really great. I also use Atticus for formatting, which I guess you can kind of also use for writing, and it has like a similar format. It doesn't have all the goodies.
Our wonderful Freaky Friday anthology book.
Yes, that's what I. Yeah.
If anyone wants to pick up a copy, link down below.
That got Atticus. Yeah, no, it's fine. I did that in Atticus, and you can also use that as a word processor. But I've heard some people like have had gremlins will come and delete things in it, so I don't use that for anything but formatting.
What about the rest of you guys? What do you guys use for your like writing tools or writing software?
Pages.
Oh wait, Pages is that's the Mac one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the Mac Word.
Yeah, it's the Mac Word. Okay.
Yeah, and then if I'm using screenwriting, it's Final Draft.
Yeah, Final Draft I think is almost like the industry golden standard for screenwriting.
Yeah.
I use Word and Pro Writing Aid.
Pro Writing Aid. Okay.
I use Word, Google Documents, and Atticus.
And Atticus as well. Okay.
I just use the old Google search because I'm too dumb and lazy, and just the rest I use while I'm writing on Inket.
You said Inket?
Yeah, that's where I post all my books and stuff. And whenever I'm starting to write something, they'll tell me I spelled the word wrong, but they won't tell me how to spell it. And so I go to Google to be like, okay, how do you spell this word? And 9 times out of 10, it's spelled right. But sometimes it's like, no, you're missing this letter. It's like, oh, thank you, Google.
You know, that's really interesting. So all of us are using almost different writing software. And I mean, you guys see my writing stuff on the stream every day. I generally I use Microsoft Word. I know I tried to pivot, I think about 6 months ago. No, 3 to 6 months, where I tried to pivot to What was that other writing? I already forgot the other writing software. And I tried to pivot to online. Not Pro Writing Aid. It was one of the other ones. But for some reason, because doing it through the live stream, it was killing my connectivity issues. I couldn't stream efficiently with the one that I was using. But once again, I don't think there's like a right or wrong tool to use. I'm just always intrigued why writers use the tools that they do. I know there are definitely better options out there over Microsoft Word, but I think I just need to find something. I'll find something else eventually, but I think I'm so used to the old school method.
Pages in Word, I think, is fine. I don't think that we need to worry too. I think you're putting too much pressure on yourself. You have more important things to worry about.
I will eventually. I'll probably transition to another writing software for like when I get into the second book, because I think I do see the value of these other writing softwares, because a lot of it is the planning aspect of it, right? And it comes down to an efficiency standpoint. As a writer, we have to balance out 100 different things when writing the books, right? So if you can better efficiently categorize and organize these things, I think that can definitely be a time saver in the long term. So, and I can tell in the chat, we have like Courtney is like, I'm using Readsy this time and I'm really enjoying it. I've heard some good things about Readsy's software. ML is like, I write in Word, edit with Pro Writing Aid, and format books with Word. Megan's like, I use Grammarly, Papyrus, Google Docs, and maybe a Word. I think when I've when I've surveyed people before, the two most predominant used ones was Microsoft Word and Google Docs. Based on what I see with the streams, with like the critique show, Google Docs seems to be the most popular one when I get files or formats sent. But that could just be the ease of use type of thing. Awesome. So on that note, like I said, we're going to be getting some more writing in. So we're going to hop straight into another writing sprint because we all need to get work done. So let's see who can once again make the most. Let's see who can get the next biggest amount of words in the second sprint. We're going to make some progress. We're going to do another 25-minute sprint because we all want to push ourselves. So let's do it. I got 25 minutes on the clock. And we'll check back in with a break after. So 25 minutes, and it's time to write now. And that was the second writing sprint. How'd you guys do that time? Hopefully we made a little bit of progress. Fingers crossed.
I think I made it as less awkward as I could. And
Mhm.
Duncan is very proud of a peck, and I think that's kind of funny.
Mm-hmm.
They pecked like this, and he had to, and boyfriend had to go, and he was like, "All right, I did that. I did a first kiss."
Yeah, it sounds about right for a teenager.
Yep. That's what they did. He was very happy about it. He was very proud of himself, and little does he know that he just caused a whole big magic problem. So
glad you're able to solve the problem then.
I hope.
That's awesome.
We'll see what happens as the rest of it kind of builds up.
That's really funny. I'm working through magic and intimacy related issues in my novel as I speak too.
What is more fun, magic and intimacy?
Yeah.
Oh man, I was like, what? I was like, I don't even know what I'm working on. No, I'm working on this like downtime scene. Originally, I had the characters leave. I had Scarecrow and Crow in the original version left the city to embark on the next part of the adventure. But now I kind of have them taking like a breather before embarking on the next part of this adventure to kind of let them kind of like, I don't know. It's to give a recap. I realized I needed to show them understanding, agreeing to go to on the journey, and then understanding everything that just happened. So I'm having one of those like resting, those kind of like, it's like calm, dramatic moment.
Those are always fun.
Yeah,
Yep.
I've also been trying to figure out how to deal with the straw and the stuffing bit with Scarecrow throughout, because like in the original version, I made it very obvious that Scarecrow loses straw and stuffing as he goes throughout the story. And I kind of touched upon how he solves that. And then this version, I realized I needed to make it a little bit more substantial, and that he has to get more straw and stuffing, or he has this fear that if he runs out of all of it, he'll just won't be able to move around. He'll die essentially. So it's kind of making it a little bit more of an obstacle for him.
Does it have to only be straw stuffing?
And I think that's something funny that I'm going to play around with in this early part. I don't think it does. I'm still figuring it out. I'm figuring out if it has to, but I think I might do something funny with that.
You could add in like something from like, scarecrows are in farms, and maybe he can use corn husks as well, or something like that.
It'd be funny. I was thinking about having one of the characters, probably the crow or the pixie, just giving him stuffing like dirt inside of him. I thought that could be something funny to play around with. Yeah, I'm thinking through it. That's a good idea, though. What about the rest of you guys? Were you guys able to make some progress?
I'm about halfway through the exciting parts, and Rex is not the main antagonist of the story. He's just like he's like the secondary one, and I'm actually kind of liking how he's turning out, because stereotypical jock. He basically has an ego bigger than anyone can handle, and he doesn't know how to deal with that when he's encountering someone that clearly does. But that person is also trying to protect someone else, so it's kind of creating an interesting dynamic when the other person is like pushing back inadvertently and just making everything worse. So it's going really funny so far.
Sounds like you're getting a nice contrast between the characters. Like trying to, anyways.
Trying.
Oh man. Let's see. It looks like we got a couple. It looks like some the other writers in the community are making good progress. Let's see. What did I have? By the way, Carter, welcome. I saw somebody hop in during the stream. He asked an interesting question. He said, "Have any of y'all actually published any books?" Just curious. I think a couple of you guys. I mean, Chris, you're published. Penelope, Soul. crazy. Calvin, you're published as well, right? Have you published
Yeah.
a book? You have.
I published an older one. Don't really like it, but it's one of those long-term projects.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess technically I'm published through the anthology now. I guess like technically that's now that I have a technical published story, but I haven't published. Scarecrow would be my first official published solo book.
Duncan number 2 is going to come out hopefully in the next month or two, so we'll see.
That'll be super awesome. Yeah, that'll be really cool. And but I mean, I guess it's interesting what people consider define an author, and I think the greater community out there considers an author to be a published author, and author being I have a published book. But what about if you want to write a book, but you don't want to publish it, but you write a book? Does that make you any less an author? And that's something that I've kind of thought through before as well. I've written for 25 years, but I haven't officially published something as a solo title. So does that make me any less of an author? By a lot of standards, yes. After almost 300 or 400 streams of writing streams, does that make me any less of an author? I don't know. But I think the credibility aspect will get added whenever I publish Scarecrow.
You know, I've been thinking a lot about some of these things too, like these, what do people consider what? And there are liberties with some of these things, but I'm gonna say something that might, I don't know, we'll see something upsets some people. You do you. If you think you're a writer, if you think you're an author, go for it. Whether or not you're good or not, that's a whole different story. But we're in a world right now where we're bombarded with so many different messages and so many different how-tos and what's and what you should be and who you should be doing and how you should be doing it and whatnot. Like, I'm approaching a lot of my stuff from my life a lot more holistically lately. And I'm just like, if I can have a happy life and just live in my own little world and just be okay with that, super cool. And if I'm like, that's just kind of that's my own opinion. I don't know if that's and that's not fleshed out, but it's food for thought. You do you.
I agree with that. One of the things that I've noticed, like I totally like, if you want to write whatever you want. Don't worry about like, things.
Stuff.
Anything that like any form of self-expression should not, first of all, doesn't make you feel good. Second of all, considerations for other people. That having been said, one of the things that I keep running into is this idea of a published author. And like a lot of people that are publishing, there's like standards have changed in the last 5 years, I think, simply because more people are able to write a book and put it out on, like, say, Amazon without any sort of checks for grammar or punctuation or formatting. And I know that there's a lot of readers that are frustrated with the caliber of published works that are out there being.
I think that's because it costs money to go through the publishing process, right?
If you go to a Vanity Fair.
I mean, you can do. I mean, I'm not saying don't publish your book if you don't think it's ready, but there's just
so self-publishing has made it more accessible, right? So before, when it was gatekept by the main publishing houses, right, they had to go through all the process because that's a bigger thing. But now I can self-publish regardless of where I think the quality is, and I could edit it myself and say, oh, it was edited, because I work a full-time job and I don't have enough money to pay an extra $1,000 for an editor, or a couple thousand. So I think it kind of creates that it's almost it's a low quality edited work that's not edited correctly has saturated the market with work that has been edited correctly. And then that the self-publishing market is just, it creates this very like wide extreme.
It's so uneven. It's so uneven. And it's like, I'm not saying like, if you want to write, publish your book, that's fine. But the problem becomes like, I mean, like, I think that if you're going to go to the trouble of, like, I printed my books out. Like, I went, I skipped the whole Amazon deal and I went straight to a print. And when she printed out, there's not, like, I purchased 25 copies. Once you print it out, you can't fix any typos on that print, you know, on that run. And I feel like that set the standard for me. If I wouldn't print out of my own pocket 25 copies of this book, then it's not done yet. So, I mean, that's how I kind of feel about it. And I know that, you know, and I love that. And I really love that publishing is available for people, because there's a lot of people out there who are writing who would not be traditionally published, who are amazing authors. But I would like to read. Or, you know, people who just like, you get a lot of pride out of publishing your own book. I just think that, unfortunately, there's a fluctuation of a lot of people who are just kind of hobbyists, maybe. I don't know. The standards are kind of fluctuating a lot. And I think that expectations are lowering for like language and use of language and use of more literary type, because I'm more literary. I like to play with language. I like to do cool, weird, experimental stuff with it. And I'm finding it like harder and harder. It seems like to read things that are coming out just don't have that. It's very straightforward. A lot
of the language used for a lot of like mainstream books that are become very popular is a lot more simpler language.
Yeah, and I don't know. I think if you're going to play with an art form, play with it. Like language is an art form. I'm not flipping anybody off. But like, you know, I just want to see, like, for myself, what I like to read. People like to read straightforward stuff. People like to write straightforward stuff. That's fine. But as an art form, I'd like to see it. I'd like to see more people engaging with it in terms of craft. But that's what makes it fun. Like, it is so much fun to say weird things in really cool ways that blow people's mind. That's been my experience. So
it's interesting. I know in the chat, Michael was saying, I have 2 published books and 2 more coming this year. I do not feel authentically an author. I haven't sold 100 books yet. Right. And I think there's that, that's just another interesting ideology, right? So I might have a published book, but if I haven't sold very many copies yet outside of my friends and family, do I feel legitimate or not? Then I don't know.
I think that
I've sold none of mine, and I feel like I'm an author.
There you go.
I sold 2, and I'm an author. And one of them was my parents.
Ooh.
I think that
anybody in the anthology, I'm pretty sure that we've sold about 50 copies so far. So anybody who's in the Freaky Friday anthology, we've sold about 50 copies of it between the ebook and the paperback. So I'm planning a stream next month for the anthology stuff, but FYI.
So Penelope, as she was talking, she said that when you have a book and you've printed it, you can't change it.
Right.
You can't at least change that copy. And the question that I was going to actually pose is, when is art actually ever done?
Never.
It's just abandoned, right?
I mean, then it just becomes then if you redo it, it becomes a second edition, right? You just change the edition. Like that's the standard for books.
The thing that I think about a lot is, because I come from TV a lot. So I think about TV and stuff. And there are things that are aired that they go back and they edit and then they re-air it a different time because they made a mistake or whatever, or they didn't finish it or whatever. And so it's just like, you can always go back and change something. Always. So art is never really done.
I get that. I had a deep philosophical like meander around that particular question lately. And when I finally decided, well, yeah, art is never done. You can always come back. And I think most artists who practice artists throughout their life end up coming back to the same ideals, same themes, same concepts, even same characters in different dressing. For me, what it kind of becomes is, when is the work finished, as in terms of an artifact or a timepiece or something that has coagulated in amber for a particular part of my life. Like 20 years from now, I will never be able to write Datura's Requiem again. It feels completed at a particular time in a particular place. And for that, even though it's got, okay, there's a typo on the back cover.
Oh no.
I know, because of course my editor didn't look at that bit. I didn't send him that. Right? So like, as hella embarrassing as that is, I can't redo it and have it go back in time and change it and change who I was. But like, okay, what is the Heraclitus said? You can never walk in the same river twice because neither the river nor you will be the same. So I think that I think that as an artist, I think that we keep trying to solve these riddles that we've posed for ourselves since we've been very young. But I also think that each piece of these things stand as a timepiece and an artifact in a particular, when you were in a particular frame of mind, when you were experiencing something in the space-time continuum that you needed to get down on paper or get on a canvas or whatever. You can always change it. I probably will go back and fix the typo on the back cover in the next edition.
I would do that too.
Now, I agree with that. Damn it. I agree with that. So mirrored.
We've all been there.
Actually, I want to ask something to the writers as readers, actually. So we all know that as writers that we release something where we are all on our specific journey. So in response to Penelope's story, rambling, whatever.
Rambling.
I wonder, like, when it comes to the reader, how much do you tell them about your space where you were when you released that, or how much leeway should the reader have for the author when they're reading that story if they see a spelling mistake, or should they be more lenient, or do they should they feel they're more human versus an author? I don't know if that's the right way to ask.
Do you mean it like the reader's knowledge of where the author is at in their journey when they read that published version of the book?
I think so, yeah. But like, what does the reader need to be more lenient? Does the reader need to be like, oh, wait, I understand where they're coming from, but they made this change because X, Y, Z? Like from a reader standpoint,
I think in a perfect world, the reader should be more lenient. Sure, for let's say an independent author as compared to one who's traditionally published and is being backed by a full team of people who are doing each part of the process, there should be that balance. However, I think readers want to read good stories, right?
No, they don't.
Think that
How dare you?
They don't want to read good stories. They just want no. I almost said something really bad, and there's really good stories on that site, and I wasn't. No,
if I could try to answer your question, as far as for me, if I'm reading an indie author, or if I'm reading any of our books, Penelope, Souls, even yours, Kaufman's, if I'm reading any of your books and I see a mistake, I'm just going to assume, okay, he probably did not have the money to pay hundreds of dollars to get an editor to catch the mistake. And if it's a one or two mistakes, that's fine. That's part of being human. Now, if I see the same mistake every so often, I can assume maybe you have a blind spot to whatever that is. Maybe it's something that you're not seeing, especially if it's the same mistake. Now, don't get me wrong. If I can't get through 10 pages without finding 30 mistakes, I'm going to put the book down because it's unreadable at that point. And now, again, someone who is a traditional backed author, who's backed by a team making hundreds of dollars an hour, whose only job it is to find mistakes. Yeah, I'll be like, why did no one catch that mistake? Especially if it's been looked over by 5 people before it even got back to the author for her rewrites.
There are books that have gone through all that, and they're still.
I know that. I know that. It's kind of like a badge of pride when you think about, like, yeah, I read through this entire book series and found 2 mistakes in the entire series.
Penumbra said a really good comment. They said self-published authors are held to a ridiculously higher standard than traditionally published authors.
Yes.
I completely agree.
I think that's just because it's like they are more, it is more common to have errors in a self-published environment than it is in a more traditionally published. And I think that people like to dogpile on people for being more vulnerable. So stop that. I like your question. I think that if you're reading an independent author, I think it's like, I was just looking it up, but I think it's like 1 grammatical error per 1,000 words or something like that. There's an industry standard for how many errors there can be in a book. I don't know if it's like
Should
1 per
be.
1,000.
Should be in a book, not can
Should
be.
Right.
be.
They expect errors is the point of that. But like, yeah. And I think that we aren't, the thing is like, I think that if I was reading something that had errors, and I don't get too caught up in like a few little ones, but like if it's 30 per page, I'm going to probably put it down even if it's a good story. And hope you find an editor for the next round, because like I really want to read your story. I just can't, I mean, there's this, and that comes from like depending on other people in your group, in your social network or your network of writers to beta read your stuff, to check for grammar. Like, if you can't depend on, if you don't have the money to shell out for an editor, at least look for people in writing groups that can help you catch those kind of mistakes. And they make writing software for that as well. But yeah, I think that we should probably be, like Kaufman said, in a perfect world, we should be more forgiving, not more mean towards indie authors, because there's a lot more. You don't just get to write when you're an indie writer. You get to write and edit and publish.
I have another thing that kind of comes up with that a little bit too, to even further that along further. When someone gets mad at actually having a mistake and they say, "Oh, this is stupid. They could have done better." Are they projecting that they didn't do it instead?
Yeah. I think that people who do that are like that somebody along the way was really mean to them and kind of over criticized them and they turned around. So yeah.
I don't know. I'm just asking philosophical questions here, and I don't really get a chance to ever do
No, I mean that's a great question.
We should love them anyway, even though they're really irritating.
Ultimately, at the end of the reader experience, this is kind of speaking to Calvin, your point that you made before. Readers want a good story, and anything that we do that detracts from delivering a good story, whether it's a storytelling element or whether it's a grammatical error, every single time a reader catches it, it chance pulling them out of the present moment of the story. Fair. Readers have like a number of bullshit, we'll say, that they will allow in a story. Once it hits a certain point, then they eject, right? And I think whether that certain point is like, oh, this plot line doesn't make sense. Oh, every page, they don't know how to spell this word correctly. And if it happens too repetitively, there's trillions of options out there, right? And I think that's ultimately what it comes down to.
And that's also fair.
Did you just invent something called the bullshit threshold?
Exactly. How'd you know? How'd you know?
You just invented a thing, the bullshit threshold. I love that. I love that because I get that a lot from you when you're editing my stuff, and it usually involves like a bit of landscape. And you're like, no, Penelope, stop putting these goddamn mountains in your story. This isn't Tolkien. They aren't hobbits. Nobody's going on an adventure here.
But I mean, it totally happens the best. That happens to most writers because we're trying to, when we're writing our stories, we're trying to paint a picture of what we want the reader to experience. And in our mind, yeah, that makes sense. For them to understand this moment, they need to understand what the characters look like, what the background looks like, what the thing looks like, while also balancing the plot, the dialogue, and everything. But then when we pull back, which is why editing is essential. When we pull back, a lot of those things aren't necessary to the reader understanding the plot and what's going on.
I agree with that. I think
what was that?
I had a thought. It vamoosed. Oh, yeah. No. I think that like as a writer, like your number one mantra, your number one concern has to be the story. And how the best case scenario, how the reader is going to be able to read this story.
I want to challenge myself to actually write a book that has all spelling mistakes, like one on every single page, and just see if someone will read the whole thing.
I will, just because you've challenged yourself to do it. I will challenge myself to read it, and then
Challenge accepted.
I will not speak to you for like a month because I'm like, how dare you? I hated this art experiment. It was stupid.
Guys, by the way,
stupid STOOPID.
By the way, we have a really great question here, which I want to pose to the group.
Yes.
Glitch him over on Twitch. Hey, what's up, friends? So you're like, how do I make writing smoother? Like one paragraph to the next, a stronger transition.
Depends on the
That's a
paragraph.
good question.
Any recommendations here?
So how I would do that is you end a paragraph with a idea of what the next paragraph is. And how do I explain this? Like when you have a paragraph, you're writing the paragraph and you say, oh wait, but then they came up with this new idea. End of paragraph. New idea is this next thing. Does that make sense?
I like that.
Yeah.
Kind of like I would end it like end the thought, but like, oh, there's something else but it led into whatever the new thing is.
Here's what Glitchum said. Chris, that's what I do normally. There's a reason my editors say it's like a war zone. What about the rest of you guys? Anything come to mind?
I mean, I've always done what Chris is kind of doing. I've used the previous paragraph to set up the next paragraph. And you've always said my transitions are generally pretty good.
You know, Glitch, something that makes me think that, and I think it's hard for us to really diagnose without more context, but my guess is it might be less, the problem might be less contingent on a structural level. It could be that the problem's more related to plot, to maybe one of the storytelling elements. It could be a lack of clarity with plot, character development, or world building as compared to a sentence by sentence structure level. Because I think that's the standard for paragraph structures tends to be beginning, middle, end. How do you tie in the end of this paragraph into the next one? And if the reader's getting confused, or if your editor is saying, hey, that doesn't work, I think, Glitchum, if I were in your position, I would ask the editor specifically why don't the transitions work? Is it because the editor is getting lost? Is it the word count? Or is it the word choice? It could be so many different things.
Wait, where was the comment?
The original one.
Yeah, the original one.
Like how to make writing smoother.
The reason why I was asking is because I was wondering what transition, if there was a specific transition they were looking for, and they said paragraph. So that's what I was
Yeah. Glitchin was saying my main problem is I'm thinking of the whole idea, not the tiny ideas. Plus, I get story ideas daily and some ideas, cloud ones I'm working on.
One step at a time. One sentence at a time.
That is the beautiful thing about being a storyteller. But on that note, today's been an excellent group and writers meeting. Before we wrap up, I just want to do a real quick shout out to, I'm hosting a masterclass next week. I would love everyone to check it out. It's a pop-up masterclass. So for anybody who wants to improve on writing technique, on learning how to self-edit, or learning how to build your author brand, this is a 3-day masterclass. Just drop the link down in the chat, pointing it towards everyone. Please go check it out and sign up now. Go sign up. This will be next weekend, 3 days. So go check it out. Write, Edit, Brand. All right. So I wanted to end off with, I needed to do a quick call because I have to advertise that every day. So please go check it out. Just drop the link down in the chat. And I want to thank everybody here for joining me today. This has been an absolutely incredible session. Yeah, so this has been great. Y'all know me as Kaufman. You guys can find me here 380 something consecutive days of streaming and many more. And that's what I got for you. I'll let everybody outro themselves, leading with you, Chris.
Oh, all right.
On the spot.
I'm so used to being last.
No more.
So I'm Chris. I'm a tarot reader for writers as well. That's what I've actually been doing, putting some cards in order, but I'm a tarot reader, obviously. And I released a short story called Duncan, a Gay Teenage Witch. If you want to learn tarot cards, I'm also starting a tarot study group. So if you're interested in that, head on over to my link tree. You can see the button there. Outro. Anything else I should add to the outro? Anything else?
You're wonderful. You're
All
great.
right, cool. All right, that's me.
And Penelope, up to you.
Penelope Hartley E. I am the author of Deter's Requiem, and I am working on hang on. I wasn't ready for this. I spelled my name wrong on purpose to annoy everybody. And I wrote this book. It is a dark psychological horror thingamajig with exploding dinosaurs and tragedy and trauma. It's amazing. I'm finishing up The Love Spell Murders, my first feature-length novel. It is releasing this weekend. Oh my god, I have so much work to do. I do stuff with words.
Stop.
I'm gonna go find my link. Somebody please rescue me. Thank you.
All right, so it's up to you.
So, Chat Soul, this is my little business card for Pirates of Series. I'm gonna be posting my links for my Discord because I actually have an author Discord for Hollow. So if people actually like want to come in and ask questions about my series and get some updates through that, please check it out. Yeah, I didn't say that before. I didn't know we were going to be talking about our Discords.
Woo, I know. Apparently today Discord was the thing. All right, Calvin, up to you, my friend.
Again, I'm Calvin. I write military science fiction. Want to thank you all for joining us. I do not have a Discord right now. Maybe sometime I'll eventually set it up. Maybe. But I do post most of my book on Story Novel, on Mega Novel. I posted in the chat. Minus the fact that apparently I added a 0 to Chronicles. So it's just Chronicles. But if you go check it out, that would make me very happy, and just leave feedback. Thank you, guys.
And last but not least, taking out the crazy over here.
Yes, you heard it. Crazy Root Beer with the unknown name. You guys can name it. Let me know. And right now I am writing a book that will cause a domino effect for the next 3 books, Angel 3,
Ooh.
Fallen Hero. You can find me on Discord. Hopefully my link is right. I did the best I could. So hopefully that is good. The Discord just shows all the books so far from one series and all the books so far for the next series. And hope you guys have fun and have a good night. And drink root beer.
Excellent. Thank you all so much for joining me today. For those of you who don't know, I'll be back tomorrow with a daily writing stream, 2 p.m. Pacific, 2, 3, 4, 5 p.m. Eastern, for some more writing sprints and writing motivation. Make sure that if you want feedback on your story, this Saturday is the next excerpt of the Story and Critique Show. Submit down in the YouTube description now if you want feedback on it. But unfortunately, that brings us to the end of the stream. Don't forget, words are wind, but stories are forever. I'm Kaufman. These are all my friends, and we'll catch you on the next stream. Take care.
Right now.
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 Because it's time to write now.